Welcome to the CloudWaitress video tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the process of customizing your online store design, making it something that really represents your brand. So to start with, we're going to go to the admin dashboard, admin.cloudwaitress.com, log into your account and select your restaurant. Next, we'll head to the settings page, pressing the settings button on the left nav bar, and we'll head to the website tab. Now the website tab contains all the settings that relate to your store design and certain other functionalities to do with the website itself. Now all your design efforts should ideally be done inside our design mode. You can access this by pressing open design mode. And now over here, whatever changes you make to all your settings on the left will automatically be reflected on your actual store design. And so this way you can make changes and get some feedback quickly as to whether things look nice. So I highly recommend you do this on a PC or a device with a big screen, because you want to be able to see how your website looks across all different devices and not just restricted to the actual size of the device that you're using right now. If you're doing this on a PC, it's quite easy to just hit the tablet icon over here and you can see what it looks like in a tablet. And if you hit the mobile phone icon, you can see what it looks like on a mobile phone. Or you can just hit the desktop and it'll stretch all the way out. The very first thing that we want to do when it comes to designing our store is picking a nice base theme to start with. On the left hand side, we'll go to the theme section. Right now we offer two themes, the light theme and the dark theme. What you're seeing right now is the light theme, and it's probably something that's going to work for 90 to 95% of people. If you'd like, you can try out the dark theme by simply pressing the button and pressing OK to proceed, and it's simply going to update that and it's going to show me the dark theme. You can see what this looks like over here, and this might be suitable for some people, but most people probably want to start with the light theme, so we're going to go ahead and pick that to start with. The next section that we're going to take a look at is the colors section. Color section controls most of the colors for the page, but there's really only one thing that you probably want to change, which is the primary color. The primary color is the color of things such as the buttons on the page, maybe different icons, and any parts that really need to stand out. You want the primary color to be the primary color of your brand. So if your logo has a little blue in it, then you want to pick that blue color so it really stands out and it represents what your brand is about. So we'll go ahead and show you what that looks like if I change the color and I set it to something, say, nice blue, and I press save. It's going to update the page, and there we go. The buttons are blue, the icons have a blue background, and everything's going to stand out according to that color. For this process, we're just going to pick the red color that we started with, which is around there, and we will proceed with that. Now you can take a look and read what the other colors do. There are descriptions below every color that explains exactly what it does, but for the most part you want to leave them how they are and just change the primary color. So once we're done changing the base colors of the store, the next thing we're going to take a look at is the store fonts. So I'll close the colors section and I'll open the font section. Now there's two fonts you can customize, the heading font and the normal font. The heading font is pretty much any big title that needs to stand out on the page. So there's a big title up here, or any other real important parts, or your actual logo name and the titles of the dishes, the titles of these headings over here. All that is controlled by the heading font, and everything else is controlled with the normal font. So you can take a look at all the different fonts available by heading to the link over here, fonts.google.com, and that's going to open it up in a new tab. And Google provides a whole list of fonts that you can pick from with a huge range of styles. You don't want to go too crazy with this because you want it to be something that's easy to read and understand by the customer, but something that also represents your brand and gives you a bit of that style. So for instance, say I wanted to pick a font like Merriweather, which is quite a nice font. I will just simply remember the name Merriweather, and I'm going to go back to the settings page and I'm going to change the heading font. I'll just click there and type in Merry. You can see Merriweather has come up. I'll select that and press save, and then once I do that, you can see all these fonts changed up here. That font changed, the titles of all the dishes changed, and these titles changed. So you can pick whatever font you like, but the main important thing is not to go too crazy with it. The base fonts that we provide are really good for most scenarios, which is just Lotto. So I'm going to pick Lotto and I will proceed with that. The very next thing we're going to look at is the top bar section. The settings in the top bar section control everything you see in this top navigation bar up here. So where your logo would be, where the book and order button is, and where all the different categories are located. So we'll go to the top nav bar section over here, And we can see there's a couple of different options available. The first thing is the background color and the text color. Now we can leave those how they are unless you have an idea to change it to something that might look nicer for your particular brand. Now the next thing is the logo text, the logo image, and the logo link. So there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing this depending on what images you have available. If you don't have a logo image, you can simply just leave all this as it is and it's automatically going to put your restaurant name up here. If you wanted to change what it says up there, then say I said the best pizza store, see what that looks like. And once I save that, you can see it says the best pizza store up here. So ideally, you just want to leave this as your restaurant name. Now, if you have an actual image for your logo, you can go ahead and upload that. So I will go upload a logo image, and I'll choose a file from my computer. I'll select my logo. Now, you don't want something that's very high resolution because it's going to be quite small. So an image probably no bigger than this is perfect. We'll go ahead and add that, and then we can save the page. Now the logo text and the logo image are displayed side by side. So you can see since I've left the logo text in here, it has my image and it also has the text up here as well, which we really don't want. So what we're going to do is to actually hide this text. What you need to do is you need to delete all this in the logo text section and just put a single space. Because if you leave it completely empty, it's by default, it's going to show your restaurant name. So if I leave a single space in there and I press save, then we'll see that that disappears and it looks a lot nicer. Now what you can do is if you don't have an actual logo with your brand name on it, say you just had the icon, then you can upload the icon and in the logo text section you can type out your name and it's going to show your icon and your name up there. The last thing you want to look at is the logo link. Say you have a website, your main front website that you want people to be able to get back to, and by default people normally go and press the logo with the expectation that it takes them back to the home page. So what we can do is we can put our logo link in here, and if I save that, when the customer comes, if they click your logo over there, it's going to take them back to whatever website you link down there. The next thing we're going to look at is the store header section. The store header is this big black background you see over here with the text on top, and this is how it comes by default. Now this section is extremely important because it's the first thing your customer is going to see, and so it has to be something that gives a great impression and really stands out nicely. So to tweak the settings for this section, we'll close top navbar and we'll open the header section. And we can see there's quite a bit available here, and I'll go through each of the settings that we have and I'll give you a recommendation for how to create something that looks really nice with minimal effort. So the first thing is the background color and the text color. You can leave this as they are because we're really going to put an image on top of it. So to upload an image for the background, you need to upload an image using the header background image setting over here. A couple of recommendations is the most important thing is this image has to be high resolution and it has to be big because it's going to be stretched out across the whole top you see up here. And if it's not a high resolution image, it's not a high quality image, it's really going to show and it's not going to look very nice. So if you'd like to get started easily, you can pick from our stock images over here. If you select stock images, you can see we have quite a few different images for quite a few different cuisines. If there's something you would like to see in here, a particular cuisine or type of image, you can let us know and we'll add it in for you to easily be able to pick it from here. If you'd like to find your own images, you can check out where all these came from. They came from a website called Unsplash, and now Unsplash is a free image directory. You can go here and you can take whatever images you want from here and use them however you like. So say for instance I searched Chinese food. I'll see there's quite a few different things I can pick from. If I wanted to use this image, say, I'd simply click it, hit the download button, and then what I would do is that I would go to this tool to specifically resize the image and compress it because the images that you get from here are super high quality directly from the camera. So a tool I recommend is something called birme.net. So if I visit our website, you can see it's just a simple website. You can upload your image, you can crop it and compress it correctly. You can control the cropping of the image using these settings over here, the width and the height. So for the header background image, you probably want these settings, 1920 by 500. Upload your image, crop it, compress it, come back to the settings, and then you can hit the upload button and upload that over here. Now for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to pick one of the ready-made stock images. So I'll hit stock image and I'll pick this pizza over here. It looks quite nice, and I'll go ahead and save that. Now once I save this, we'll see the image stretched across the top nicely and the store page already looks so much better at this point. But you're probably noticing one problem, which is that the text on top is really hard to read right now. So to solve this problem, we're going to use something called the header background image tint. What this is going to do is it's going to layer a color on top of your image, and if you do this correctly, whatever text you have on top becomes light years more readable. So we'll give it a shot now. We'll go to the header background image tint setting. We'll select the color picker, and we're going to start by picking a black color. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the transparency of the color, which is controlled by this slider over here. Now, if there was no transparency, then your entire background image is just going to get covered by this color. So we need to give it some transparency so the image behind is still visible. So you can generally set this or start with, say, 0.5, which is a good starting point. You can see halfway through this value down here changes to 0.5, which is from 0 to 1 the transparency value. So I'll leave it at 0.5 and I will save this. And we should be able to see straight away you can actually read the text properly and it all stands out nicely, but the background image still looks great as well. The next thing we'll do is we will add a nice title and subtitle, which is controlled by these settings over here. By default, the title, which is this, is just set to your restaurant name, but you really want it to be your restaurant tagline or your brand tagline, or so something that stands out to the customer. So for instance, I will type in the best pizzas in Australia, and for the header subtitle, I'll type in homemade and fresh. Come in and try one. And I'll press save. And take a look at that. The page already looks complete. It looks so much nicer and it makes a huge difference. Now, if you'd like, you could add your logo on top of the title as well, which you can do using the header logo image setting. And you can also add a link from that logo back to your website if you like. But for now, I'll just leave it how it is and we'll proceed from here. The next step we're going to look at are your menu settings, which controls everything to do with your menus down here. So to access that, we will hit menus, which is just below the header settings. And there's 3 different options available. The default settings are what we recommend, but you can change it to suit what you like. The most important and big change you can make is the dish style. So by default, it's list, which means that the image is on the left-hand side of the description and the title of the dish. But if you select card, then it's going to put the image on top, and I'll show you what that looks like if I press save, and we'll take a look. And you can see it looks like this, but I really wouldn't recommend doing this, mainly because it makes your customer need to scroll a lot more. And if you're not consistent, like say this dish over here doesn't have an image, it ends up taking up so much space and it just looks really weird. So the list style is much more forgiving. And then the dish tag position, if you had dish tags, by default they're shown on the top edge along the dish there, but if you'd like, you can change it to inner bottom and they'll be shown below your descriptions. And lastly, there's the hiding of dish descriptions. If you check this, then your description is no longer going to show in this box, but I'll show you what it looks like. It still shows on your actual dish pop-up when the customer goes to select it. So you can see I changed back the list style and I hid the descriptions, so it no longer shows. It actually makes the menu look a lot cleaner. And if I still went to place an order, I select the dish, it's still showing over there. So it's not too big of a problem. It's up to you. So I will change that setting and I will show it in this example and we'll proceed with this. And if you wanted to change the colors of the background or the colors of these boxes where the dishes lie on, you have to go back to the color settings, which if you scroll up and you hit color settings, these settings are controlled by the background color and the box and pop-up background. So the background color is what you're seeing behind all the dishes, and the box and pop-up background is the color of the actual boxes where the dishes are sitting on. But the default settings, once again, suit most restaurants and you can leave it how it is. The last major thing we want to look at when it comes to designing your store is your store footer. So the footer is the bottom part of the page. Right now it's very blank. You can see it just contains our powered by attribution. So we'll make this part look a little bit nicer and tweak it a bit. The first thing we can do is I would recommend going all the way to the bottom and the miscellaneous settings under the additional settings. What we can do is we can add a contact form email. So if once we add this email in, you'll get a nice contact form that comes in the bottom. So I'll put in our support email, and when I save that, then we'll take a look and we'll see it's got this nice contact form come, and it already gives the whole thing a lot more oomph. So the next thing we'll do is I'd recommend adding your social media links. So you can see the social media link section. If I open that up, there's a whole bunch of different social media links you can add here. If you want to add some other type of social media link that's not displayed here, let us know, we'll add that in. So say for Facebook, I'll just put in facebook.com. You can put any link you like. I'll put cloudwaitress.com. And say I pasted it across all these and I press save. We're going to see, we scroll down to the bottom of a page, we have our nice footer social links over here. And this is a great way for customers just to find your social media profiles directly through this website. Now the actual design settings for this bottom part are controlled by this footer settings section over here below the menus. So if we open that up, as usual, we can customize a background and text color. We can upload a background image, same as the header, and we can also add an image tint, same as the header background image. Now, it actually looks quite nice when you just leave it as a simple color, but you can try upload something as well and you can give it a bit more of a style and feel to it, but it's completely up to you. But the default way we have it looks decent for the most part for 95% of people. So with this point, your actual site design is complete. It should all be looking pretty nice now. You have your logo on the top, all your colors, a nice background image that's catchy, and the whole page looks good. The footer looks great. There's only one last thing you can really do, which is add a site favicon. So say I visited my website in a new tab, we're going to see that right now there's no actual icon, so it just shows this file icon up here. But on the settings page, you can see we have our brand icon. Now this site favicon icon is used in many different contexts and many different devices, and so it's very good to have your brand icon, something that's recognizable, show up over here. So to do that, we'll go back to the settings page, we'll close the footer settings, and we'll open up the favicon settings, and we simply just need to upload a square icon, ideally 350 by 350 pixels. So I'll upload, choose a file, and I'll select my square icon, and once it's done being uploaded, I will add that in and press save, and then we'll go back to the other tab, refresh the page, and we should see our icon come up there now. So that concludes the entire store design. At this point, there's really not much else you can do between tweak the settings that we've already showed you. Hopefully you've created something great and you're proud to actually show it to your customers and start accepting orders online.